say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, we now come to Clause 2, and the question is that Clause 2 stand part. I call David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Chair. It's a pleasure to speak on this bill, and especially in regard to Clause 2, which is the commencement date of the bill. And Clause 2 states that this Act comes into force on the day that is 28 days after the date on which it receives the royal assent. That clause was something that was also well debated within the Select Committee. I remember we spent much time with that date because there were a number of alternative views on what that date should be, that is being the number of days that the commencement date would come into force. But just before I progress on to those, I just want to acknowledge the fine work of Dr Cam Corder in bringing this bill before this House. I think the Honourable Paula Bennett indicated the nature of the issue that can be involved in such situations, and it takes somebody of Dr Corder's great desire to see results-based politics, and also a desire to actually, and his capacity to undertake the level of research and dedication that's needed to bring a bill of this fortitude to the House. So well done, Dr Cam Corder, a very valuable member of the committee, which all members of the committee will miss his presence, but very, very important bill that he's done today, and something which we commend him for bringing in front of this House. But going back to the commencement date, so when we have the commencement, it says 28 days after the date on which it receives the royal assent. I'm sorry, Mr Chair, did I not talk about Mr Corder long enough? Do you want me to go back to him? But no, the commencement date is 28 days. So some of you may ask, well, why is that so important? Well, that is the number of days in the month of February, which is important. But it also is a time that we looked at is to be is that the New Zealand First member over there, the lone member of New Zealand First in this debate. It'd be great to have a call from her, but that might be more difficult than she can manage at this stage of the afternoon, I think. But Mr Corder actually wanted to bring it forward earlier, Dr Corder. He wanted a commencement date immediately. And being such a fine and astute committee that it was, we look at prudence as something that we also value in our committee. And so the question the committee members had to decide was whether we bring it forward and immediate, as the member that was bringing the bill thought was the best option, or whether we look at having a little bit of prudence there just to see if the 28 days would be appropriate. And the committee members in their entirety, and Dr Corder was part of this, and decided that yes, the 28 days would be a good time period. Now, it could have actually been a longer time period. It could have been 3 months, and that would have been just too long for this bill to have achieved its purpose. But 28 days was a good balance. It wasn't something that was immediate, but it was something that gave some time for it to work through. And the question you may ask is, why would you want to give that time for it to work through? And that was something that we had advice from the officials around. And it was something.
Sorry to interrupt the honourable member. The time has come for me to leave the chair for the dinner break. This debate is interrupted. I shall resume the chair at 7:30.
Thank you, Mr.